All right, it's day 4 at the Crooked Yellow House. Today I'm going to actually start getting ready to put some structure together here. Some temporary shoring actually before building the real structure. I'm going to take you down the crawl space now so I can actually show you what I'm doing here. I've just been alluding a little bit to collecting materials and give myself a dry place to work in this mucky crawl space, but I'll go down now and show you what I'm actually up to and why I'm doing it. Okay, so here is kind of the heart of the issue here. This is where two beams come together to form the center underneath this dividing wall here. These two beams are just absolutely ruined. This beam here is like it's like a wafer cookie. I could use my hand and pull chunks of this beam out. And as you can see, because it's all split open at the ends, it's molding. So that whole structure is just a moldy, crunchy pile of like wood flakes holding the thing together. Because that started to crush. This other beam over here, that's actually modern lumber. This beam over here, it just has too much load on it and it's coming down. And it's partially because these piers are just built completely wrong. As you can see, whoever put this together had no idea that the holes in the cinder block are supposed to point up. So you can see this is also installed incorrectly. All of this is installed wrong, just everywhere around this whole crawl space. All the cinder blocks are installed wrong. And because it's wet under here, all the wood just started rotting and the piers are shifting and everything's falling apart. Now I'm showing you this, and this is not even the worst of it. This is just the middle of it. So that beam there is going to get sistered up with some LVL. This beam here is going to get replaced with LVL. These piers in the middle are going to get replaced with one single large pier, and then another beam run through the joists here to sit underneath the wall, because that wall is up there with no support. And it's not even just the wall, but if we come back out of the hole, you can see that up here there's a beam sitting on top of that wall that comes down onto the gap in between two joists. So all that needs to be properly supported so that the middle of this addition is no longer V-shaped. If you go back to my day 1 photo, you can see that the house from outside is actually, it's like V-shaped. The windows don't close right because they're parallelogrammed. So that's kind of the heart of the issue right there. And all of it's kind of built wrong. But here's the part that's a little ugly and concerning. That right there, that's a beam, and we're looking at the bottom of it. It has twisted itself out of place completely. And those beams, or those joists are just coming down, pressing it into the ground. Sitting on top of some shoring that was built wrong. That's just sitting there crooked. There's the original pier. At least the holes are pointing up, but as you can see, it's crooked as well. So all of that needs to get replaced. I've had an engineer spec out what the pier footings, the piers, and the beams are going to be. So I got to basically lift up this whole thing. So this half of the crawl space is going to get a temporary beam here and a temporary beam behind me. That half of the that part over there is going to get a temporary beam there and a temporary beam there. And then I'm going to duplicate all that on the whole other side here. So another 2 temporary beams on this side and another 2 temporary beams over there. So it's going to need about 20 temporary footings. And what I'm working on today over here, because this beam has to get replaced. Now this is the beam that's parallel to the joists. That drop beam has to get replaced, so I need to lift the rim joist off of it, but there's no purchase. There's nothing to grab onto under here to lift that rim joist. Like I could certainly lift it from here and then let the floorboards lift the outside of the house, which is holding up a wall and the roof, and that's not a good idea. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to sister up a pair of 2x8s into that 2x8 rim joist, just so that it sticks out farther than the beam that it's sitting on. So when I put a temporary beam in here, it's going to come under this joist and then under the sistering. So my first job, because nothing's easy, is to just come around here and nip off all these nails that are going to be in my way. Got the grinder here for that. And once those are all nipped off, then I can put these boards in. And I just have deck screws here. These are not what's going to hold it. This is just putting it in place. I'm just one man with no nail gun, so I'm going to deck screw these into place around the rim joist, one, and then put the second one on it, so then it's sticking out nice and far for the beam to grab onto. And then I'm either going to drill holes through all three of these all the way to the exterior and put carriage bolts or lag bolts through, or I'm going to get a hold of a nail gun and put in a proper nail pattern of D10 nails that give me the shear strength that these deck screws won't give me, because we're trying to lift a house. You can't lift a house with shear force across here. It would just snap off and everything would come crashing down. We're trying to avoid crashing down. So that's the task for today, is to get all these nails out of the way and 2 boards up here. And then I'm going to move over here, get all those nails out of the way and 2 boards there. And then we're going to slide all the way to the far end of the crawl space, way down there. And do the same thing across those, way down there, across the rim joist there. 2 there, and then another 2 on that side. And that's going to give me the purchase that I need to grab the rim joist here. After that, we get into the next phase, which is to start building footings. So I'm going to dig down here and dig down there, put in some gravel, concrete, and then some jack posts to stick a temporary beam across here, and that's going to hold up the outside of the house that's currently held up by this twisted mess of wood and improperly installed concrete, and then duplicate that over there. And so it's essentially, let's see, 8 temporary beams that I'm putting in, 20 footings, and use that to jack up the house temporarily. And then once all that's up, then I can start pulling out all the permanent stuff that's in the way and installed wrong, and put in all the new LVL beams and 2x12s and everything that this place was supposed to be built with in the first place. Should be fun. Follow along. This is day 4. Okay, there we go. So if you're wondering what the hell I was talking about, this is the rim joist that sits on top of the outer beam. And since I have to jack up the house off the beam, I needed something for some purchase. And what that means is a beam is going to come here underneath this joist, and it's going to come underneath these joist sisters that I just attached to the rim joist on the outside. So then when this all gets lifted, I can replace that beam. And it'll all be lifted right off of this entire beam structure. So these piers can also be dug out from the outside with an excavator, and I gotta dig down and put a pad 4 feet down, a huge concrete pad, and build a new pier on top of it that the new beams are going to sit on, and then the house comes back down and rests on top of those new beams. So this is what I'm working on today. I got 1, 2 on the other side, and then on the mirror end of the house, 3 and 4. So that's 8 boards going up. And if you think, Matt, why are these boards short? It doesn't go on top of the beam. It's fine. It's not going to go on top of the beam. My temporary beam can't be there, because that's where the new beam is going to have to go. My temporary beams are going to be about 1 foot in. So I needed to leave a gap there and a gap over there as well at the end of the 2x8s, just so that I'm not in the way of the new piers, not in the way of the new beams. So the temporaries are going to come in just here. Now, these are attached with deck screws. That's just to put them in place, because that's just an easy way to get them there. But I will have to, I'm going to have to switch that out to lag screws or lag bolts. Lag screws are probably the cheapest way to do it. A lag screw and a washer from the outside. I got to figure out what the bolt pattern is, but it's going to be something like 1 high and low here, and then a zigzag pattern. It's not holding up a whole house. It's not a beam, so I don't have to go too crazy with it. So I don't know, maybe 8 or so lags in each of these 4 units here. So that's what I'm up to today. Snack time. Okay, almost to the other side. I can see the beam over here. Oh goodness, can I even see anything on that camera? Yeah. This beam here is U-shaped and all cracked open over there. So even though this half of the crawl space seems to be modernized. It's still sitting on some stuff that's no good. And it's hard to see, I'm sure, on camera, but this is all sloped downward. I guess you can see down there, it's crumbled to shit. So, I'm not even entirely sure what's holding up that ledger board. Like, there's nothing under it the whole way. I hope it's not these pieces of vertical wood here, like, so I guess that board, that board, that board. It seems to be, because that pier just has some pieces of wood on it, and it's just screwed into them. It's not even up underneath this, I guess it's a rim joist. So, right now, I'm a good distance from the entrance here, and it's getting a bit tight. You can see that's a standard Home Depot bucket, so we're very tight in here. And I'm going to get in there and put in a sister joist, just the same as I did at the far end. It looks like I might only need one. I might only be able to fit one, and I see there's an electrical cord over there. Oh, it's cut off right there anyways. It just goes to right there, so I guess that's nothing. Or it's a live wire and I die underneath. Oh, no, it's buried. It's buried in the ground. It just carries on up there. Because, yeah, gotta leave your electrical wires sitting in the mud. That's for the best. There's actually pooling water here. Holy shit. I might have to, yeah, this is all pooled water. It's raining out today, so I might have to take the time to dig a trench right down the whole length of this. It's very much sloped. This is the front of the house. It's very much sloped from front to back. There's lots of space in the back. Here, you know, it's just from my elbow to my fingertips is the height of the crawl space. So I guess water is just pouring in from the front of the house and working its way to that, what was a puddle at the back, that's now a sump pump. But it looks like I need to install some proper tiling or something under here, because I gotta put a temporary pier, like right where this pool of water is, a little farther forward, like over there. But I doubt that's any better over there. And then the other one's got to get placed just over here. At least there's no standing water there, but it's all pretty mucky. At least this end of this beam doesn't look that bad. The other end's falling down, crushing the pier under it. But yeah, this is the plan. Let's get another joist sistered up in here. I was hoping to get all four done tonight, but I got a couple hours here, and by the looks of things, it's pretty rough working at this end of the basement. So we'll see what we can knock out. A lot of these guys down here. A whole lot of big spiders. Alright, well, I got a judgment call here. I got wires going up into the wall right where I want to sister up this joist. Now, I got most of the wire disconnected from the rim joist, but it's right there in the middle. And it just goes down to the end, and there's a staple and it comes down. I could pull that staple out, and then instead of running one 8-foot beam here, not beam, one 8-foot sister, because I can't fit two anyway. Instead, I could do a little shorty beam sister over here, sorry, sill joist, rim joist sister over there, And then I could do another shorty over here, get a couple of legs in each, and I'm not too worried about there not being too much because it's a very small gap to this first interior joist. That should be fine, right? If I can get a couple of legs in on a shorty over here and a couple of legs in on a shorty down here, I don't really care about the middle because it's all going up on two beams anyway. There's going to be one temporary shoring beam comes in over there and another back this way. So each of them holds up half of this sistering component here. And it's going to be about as good as it gets, I think. That's about it. Alright, first off, this is a really awkward place to be using a Sawzall to be cutting 2x8s. Try not to lay in the mud here. So I was able to get one piece up in here, only about 2 feet long. So this is right where the temporary beam is going to land, and that's going to hold up that rim joist. And then over here on the other side, I was able to get a few feet here sistered up on that rim joist, and I kept it away from the beam again for the same reason down at the other end, away from that beam, because it needs to get, the temporary beam is going to be inboard of this beam, and it's going to lift everything up, and that beam's got to get replaced, and that pier's got to get replaced. So all this needs to be away from that. So all right, so this half of the crawl space is ready for temporary beams. Next, I got to get over to that half. It's not ready for the beams. It's ready for me to begin digging the footings so that I can begin putting the beams in. So I'm going to head over there after a short break. Time for some more pie or something. And then we'll go from there. Snack time. There we go, another sistered up rim joist. I had to take a little chunk out of that to run some wires through, and it wasn't a big deal. So we got 2 boards on that one, no problem. Wasn't much nails in the way. Just that one wire and 100 spiders. And it's about midnight, so I don't really feel like crawling all the way down there. It doesn't look as bad as the other side, though. I don't think there's any standing water down there. We'll see when we get there. Okay, that's day 4 in the bag. It's midnight. It's time for me to go home, get some sleep. So we started this morning over in this corner, setting up a 2 boards to sister the rim joist. No, it wasn't even this morning. I started at 1 p.m. today. And then crawled all the way under to that corner over there, where I was able to, I had to put 2 chunks of a single board sistered. That's all I could manage. I think it'll be fine. It's close enough to the nearest joist, so there's not much leverage happening there. And then so this is where we started. I got the 3rd one over here. That's the one that had the little notch for the electrical. Not a big deal. And I'm starting to feel like I know what I'm doing. So as soon as I start tomorrow in the afternoon, then I can crawl from where I just did this one all the way over to the end there and sister that one up. Once that's done, then it's time to start doing 20 temporary footings. So in this section here, there will be 2 footings that a beam is going to go across to catch those sistered boards, as well as all the joists running all the way to the middle. And then there will be 1, 2, 3 temporary footings where a beam is going to go the rest of the way across. And then I repeat that on this side of the hole. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then do that 2 more times here and here. So that's going to be 20 temporary footings. Dig, gravel, patio stone, concrete blocks, and then I can start putting jack posts, the small jack posts up to put some laminated beams. And that's gonna hopefully straighten this whole thing up. You probably can't see this on camera, so what I'm gonna do is when I get to doing the beams, I'm gonna set up a laser level over in this corner, because that's attached to one of the original house piers, so it's at the proper height. And we'll just see how twisted and jacked up this floor is on the laser level. It's bad. You can't see it on the video. Anyway, more tomorrow. Day 5.